Few moments in human history carry the weight and consequence of the Battle of Megiddo. Fought in the spring of 1457 BC, this clash between the mighty army of Egypt and a rebellious coalition of Canaanite city-states would become the very first battle in recorded history. The earliest conflict detailed with dates, tactics, and names, etched forever into the walls of the Temple of Karnak. This was not merely a fight for territory. It was the birth of military history itself. The seeds of war were sown in ambition and defiance. After the death of Queen Hatshepsut, the young Pharaoh Thutmose III rose to claim full power over Egypt. But across the eastern frontier, the king of Kadesh had gathered a formidable alliance of Canaanite princes at the fortress city of Megiddo, threatening to sever Egypt's control over its vital trade routes into the Levant. For Thutmose, this was not just rebellion. It was a direct challenge to the throne of Egypt, and it demanded an answer written in blood. In this journey, we are doing something special. Using advanced artificial intelligence techniques, we have transformed ancient hieroglyphic carvings, ruined temple reliefs, and forgotten battle maps into vivid, living scenes. So you won't just hear this story, you will witness it, standing as close as anyone ever has to the chariots, the dust, and the fury of this ancient clash. Thutmose marched his army across the Sinai with astonishing speed, covering over 240 kilometers in just 10 days. When his forces reached the mountains overlooking Megiddo, his generals urged caution. 3 paths lay before them, and only one, the narrow Aruna Pass, led directly to the enemy. It was dangerously exposed, barely wide enough for men to march single file. Advisors begged the pharaoh to take a safer route. Thutmose refused. He would gamble everything on surprise. It was a masterstroke. The Canaanite coalition, certain no army would dare the narrow pass, had spread their forces to guard the wider roads. When Thutmose's army emerged directly before Megiddo's walls, the enemy was caught utterly unprepared. At dawn, Egyptian chariots and infantry surged forward in a devastating assault. The Canaanite line broke almost immediately, their soldiers fleeing in terror toward the safety of the city gates. But here, discipline gave way to greed. Egyptian soldiers, seeing the abandoned enemy camp overflowing with gold, chariots, and treasure, paused to plunder the spoils of war. And in that fatal delay, the gates of Megiddo were shut. The kings of Kadesh and Megiddo, along with their surviving forces, scrambled over the walls to safety, saved only by their enemies' hunger for riches. What followed was not a final, glorious charge, but something far less romantic, a siege. For 7 long months, Thutmose's forces encircled Megiddo, starving the city into submission. When it finally fell, Egypt's dominance over Canaan was absolute. Thutmose III had won not just a battle, but an empire, one that would make him remembered as the greatest warrior pharaoh Egypt ever produced. The victory at Megiddo secured Egyptian control over the Levant for generations, opening trade routes and tribute that would fund the golden age of the new kingdom. But its true legacy lies elsewhere, in the scribes who recorded it. For the first time, humanity did not simply fight a war. It wrote one down in careful, deliberate detail, giving birth to military history as we know it today. 34 centuries later, we still study Thutmose's daring gamble through the Aruna Pass, still marvel at his audacity, and still learn from the costly mistake of soldiers who chose gold over victory. Megiddo reminds us that history's first recorded battle was already, in every sense, a story of ambition, discipline, and the fatal temptations of greed. See you.